Have you ever wondered, if the earth could speak, what would it say? In a corner of the Dasht-e-Lut desert in Iran, there is a place where maps seem to end, and an eternal silence begins. There are no humans there, no signs of life, yet deep in the night, people claim they hear the sound of thousands of footsteps. Locals say the sand there is made of crushed bones of the dead, whispering like a cursed spell, carried by the wind. Would you have the courage to stand there for 20 minutes? Because today, we are entering Iran's so-called Devil's Playground, a place from which no one returns. Only a bone-chilling silence comes back in their place. In the desert of Dasht-e-Lut in Iran, where the map seems to end, begins an ancient land that even the bravest desert travelers fear. This place is called Registan-e-Jinn. The literal meaning of the name is the desert of the Jinn. Spread across thousands of square miles, there is no sign of life here. Not even venomous snakes or scorpions choose to live in this land. But why? Science has no answer, yet every grain of sand here carries a chilling history. If you look at this region from above using a drone, you will see that the sand dunes are not like ordinary deserts. They rise like massive pyramids, shifting their positions every night, according to local legends. This sand is actually the crushed bones of the dead many centuries ago. When Silk Road caravans passed through this route, entire caravans would sometimes disappear without any visible reason. No sandstorm, no bandits. The earth itself seemed to swallow them whole. The bones of those people have now turned into sand, and their restless souls still weigh heavily on the air of this region. When the sun sinks below the horizon and the sky turns from blood red to dark violet, the desert begins to reveal its true form. In the first few minutes, you feel an unnatural silence, so deep it feels like it blocks your ears. But soon, that silence is broken by a strange humming sound. Scientists call it singing sand, but if you listen closely, you will realize it is not a song. It sounds more like the collective wailing of thousands of voices. As the wind hits the grooves of the sand, it feels as if someone beneath the earth is screaming, "Set us free." The most mysterious thing is the temperature here. Deserts are usually cold at night, but in certain areas of Registan-e-Jinn, you feel an abnormal heat rising from deep within the ground. If you step there, it feels like you are standing on burning coal. Yet just a few steps away, the sand feels icy cold. This extreme temperature difference cannot be explained by any geological reason. Ancient Persian manuscripts say this is the place where ancient palace cities once collapsed underground, and the hellish furnaces of those palaces are still burning today. As the night deepens, strange illusions or mirages begin to form before your eyes. In deserts, mirages during the day are common, but here they appear even at night. When moonlight falls on the sand, you suddenly see a massive arch or gate standing in the distance. If you walk toward it, the gate keeps. The most terrifying scene comes from the wind of this place. The wind here does not blow in straight paths. It moves in strange, geometric patterns. If you stand still, you will see columns of dust rising around you one by one. From a distance, these dust pillars look like tall human figures. They do not move. They just stand there, watching you. And then, at that exact moment, a sound rises from beneath the ground. A rough voice, calling someone's name. It comes very close to your ear and stops, as if someone is whispering, "You are not alone," moving farther away. This is not an ordinary mirage. It is a deadly trap. Those who have followed this gate have never returned. Their footprints on the sand turn backward after a while, as if something dragged them beneath the earth. When the second watch of the night begins, the atmosphere of the Registan-e-Jinn changes completely. In the first part, we heard mysterious whispers, but in this chapter, those whispers turn into a terrifying reality. At this hour, the desert sky becomes strangely bright. The stars shine with an unnatural intensity. But if you keep staring long enough, something unsettling happens. You begin to notice that the stars are not fixed. They slowly shift, forming constellations that do not exist on any modern astronomical map. It feels as if you are no longer looking at the sky of this world, but at the sky of another dimension or another time. In the heart of this desert stand massive stone arches, known locally as Kalat. In the dead of night, a faint bluish glow surrounds them. These formations, carved by centuries of wind erosion, look like the ruins of an ancient temple from a forgotten civilization. But when you get closer, something strange begins to unfold. Symbols appear on the surface of the stone. Without any human touch, they resemble ancient cuneiform or Pahlavi script. And the terrifying part, these inscriptions keep changing, as if an invisible hand is constantly rewriting history. P-R-Y-M, awe on the stone itself. Then comes the most horrifying phenomenon of all, the parade of shadows. When the full moon rises high in the sky, you can clearly see your shadow on the sand. But suddenly, something is wrong. Your shadow is no longer moving with you. Even if you stand completely still, your shadow begins to walk away, slowly moving across the desert floor. And then it multiplies. Dozens, hundreds of long, unnatural shadows gather around you. Despite there being no bodies to cast them, they move against the wind, sometimes merging with the stones, forming shapes that feel almost alive and deeply wrong. At this stage, time itself begins to collapse. You look at your watch, and the hands are spinning uncontrollably fast or completely frozen. What feels like 10 minutes of walking may actually be 3 hours lost in this endless desert. This phenomenon is called a time slip. The desert traps you inside a distorted loop of time from which escape becomes nearly impossible. Suddenly, the heat of the desert drops. Moist, freezing fog rolls in from nowhere. Something that should not exist in this burning land. From within this fog, you begin to hear it. The sound of horse hooves, the clash of swords, as if an ancient war, buried under centuries of sand, is still being fought over and over again. And then, the most disturbing detail appears. Tiny points of light flicker inside the mist. Not insects, not fireflies. There are no living creatures here. Locals believe these are the eyes of the Jinn, and they are watching you. These lights begin to lure you forward, inviting you to follow. And if you take even one step toward them, the ground beneath your feet changes. The sand turns liquid. This is called the quicksand of souls. It does not just swallow your body, it traps your consciousness itself. By the end of this chapter, you no longer see the desert as a place. You begin to feel it as something alive. A deep vibration rises from beneath the ground, like a massive machine awakening, and through the mist, a final image emerges, something no human mind is ever prepared for. A Persian palanquin floating across the sand, carried by 4 shadow-like figures with no visible legs, and it is moving straight toward you.